Ladies and gentlemen, here we have an interactive broadcast, or maybe there's nothing but a recording. Is someone aware of that? It's just recorded. So there is no interactive element in it. Okay. There are no interactive activities here. Today we have an enormous hall. It's full house. Thank you, dear colleagues, for joining it. And I would also like to express my gratitude to others, apart from my colleagues. And thank you for providing technical support who enable us to perform this recording. My name is Alex von Rosen, and today I will talk about the way of counteracting a malicious phenomenon called DDoS. I won't tell you anything innovative and revolutionary. You're aware of that, but still I would like to draw your attention to the key aspects. And that's right. And we should fight it in a literate way. And why it's me who is responsible of conveying this message for you? Well, because everyone is exposed to the DDoS attacks. Otherwise, your products are not that popular or you're extremely lucky. Our project is fintech. It's overloaded, it's enormous, and that's why the enemies are pulling their tentacles to our public points, and they do their utmost to impede our work, but they don't succeed in doing that, and it takes them several years, but they fail, and I'm eager to share my experience and to focus on the aspects which can be neglected. But if you're interested in the fact what a single interactive betting accounting center called TSUPIS means, you may Google search it, and unless you're our customers, you may join our pool and you will relish it. Well, what is the inception point of these DDoS attacks? I would divide them by the types of attacks. Some of the attacks are aimed at hooliganism, at vandalism. When the school children are going to destroy your playgrounds or place the colorful words on and expletives on your resources, in the public resources, it's called vandalism. That's in our genes. If you are eager to break something, try to break it. So, most of these attacks are scattered. Sometimes they are accidental, but they may bring upon havoc because some of the vandals are intrusive. The others would like to sort your operation, and most of them are interested in that. Some of them have financial interests. They would like to sort your work, and they would like to break it down, and they do it in a qualified way. That's the second group of attackers, and over the past year and some months, we have managed to face them in person because there are lots of them. They're eager to impede the Russian large platforms, or they are eager to stop their work. And they created a large set of threats. That's what we take note of. And some of them are going to steal something from you and to blackmail you. They act like bandits, like thugs. They're criminals. And the key goal is not to do their utmost to stop your work. The key goal is to get enriched, is to benefit from it. They're eager to steal something or to blackmail you, because DDoS is just one of the factors of our attack. That's how we classify the ones who attack you. And if you ponder on it, you will realize that despite the fact that our industry is emerging, some issues haven't been witnessed in reality yet. As for ranking the threats and the reasons and goals set by the perpetrators, there is nothing new in this field. People have been practicing these activities, and it's history. They act as vandals or consciously steal someone's property or intentionally bring upon havoc to someone. And that's the you postulate. It enables us to take a look at the noble goal of protection from DDoS attacks in terms of the practices. They're crystal clear and familiar, and you're all familiar with them. My goal is not to teach and to enlighten the engineers, because the engineers are competent as they are. First and foremost, I would like to tell the technical managers and other managers that there are some theses, there are some ideas. As soon as you protect yourself from DDoS, you should realize that you would also protect your bank storage or your house. You would protect them from the attacks this way, with the protection from mad neighbors or hooligans. The principles are the same, and they are universal and they are ubiquitous. The first principle is called segmentation. It is often forgotten. If you have infrastructural facilities, enormous enterprise infrastructural facilities, it should be isolated in terms of hardware and software and even the service personnel, and should be divided into independent segments. There is a case in point from real life. For instance, you own a factory, which you're the only owner of this factory, and it constructs vessel, and you also have a country house. It's kind of a mansion, and you're not going to arrange the shipyard in the mansion, and neither you're going to live at the factory premises, because there are different production processes, different risks, and different requirements. And this segmentation seems to be natural, that you reside in one place and work at the other one. And this also holds true for infrastructure. There are some people who sell that and who earn money. Public services are commonly launched there, and they generate the cash flow. And you also have your own infrastructure. It's called internet services, such as in-house resources, including those which enable you to perform development and to connect your employees to the platform using the remote access. Please understand that if you divide the infrastructure into these two segments, it's for good. And it is highly likely that the second segment will not suffer from that, and you may generate lots of segments of that kind. If you have a large platform, it should be segmented up to the level of functional blocks. And others should keep working, and all the modern infrastructural practices allow us to do it and even make an input to that. All the service-oriented infrastructures, modular infrastructures, service-oriented architectures, OS-level virtualization, network, and segmentation, and the software-determined network are the tools which make it possible to achieve high level of segmentation. That's the first concept. Please divide them, protect them in isolation. Consider the service level agreement, the risks and budget constraints in terms of safety and security, and the ways to repel DDoS attacks. The second point is related to the personnel. I am used to hearing the fact that if someone doesn't manage to fulfill the work at a high level when being employed, they may make progress and get better. I don't believe in that. There are only a few of professionals, and if you're eager to do it at the high level, you work with the professionals. And if you are not result-oriented, you work with those who incur expectations, and that's it. I have invented the analogy related to the turtle and a cat. That seems insane, but most people hear similar reasons. For instance, we have lots of mice because cats catch mice, and that's why we need to purchase a cat. But we haven't found any cat. But we had nothing but a turtle, and this turtle looks like a cat because it has 4 extremities, it has a mouth, and it may even hook an item, and its dimensions are similar to the cat's one. Let's imagine that this turtle is a cat. Perhaps this turtle will evolve into a cat, or will find a cat a little bit later. What will this result in? It will be a failure for the turtle because it is reluctant to eat mice. It will also be a failure for the owners because the turtle cannot catch the mice even by accident. No one but mice benefit from it. If you're going to repel modern DDoS attacks, you need a qualified team of experts. Perhaps they're not specializing in DDoS attack repelling, but they should be aware of the principles of infrastructure. And in fact, I might even finalize it, because if you hire good professionals, they may fulfill it instead of you. But this doesn't work in practical terms, because cool professionals may lack experience. Perhaps they also lack the toolkit, which would be indispensable for them, and some cool experts cannot be heard either. Being managers, we cannot hear people, we cannot listen to them, and because they are not perseverant enough, they cannot convey this message. So some people may push their ideas and achieve the results, and others are result-oriented, but they cannot explain it explicitly. It's not their cup of tea, and that's why let me proceed. If you do everything properly, you have a qualified team at the stage, or you intend to get a team of that kind. And later on, you need to streamline working processes. Today, I will also dwell upon the labor productivity, and I will also describe it in more detail, but even the coolest experts cannot work without any working processes. But if you have this working process of these experts and the people are not high level, nothing will function. Humans are the primary force, and the processes are the secondary one. And your working processes should envisage repelling the DDoS attacks. This threat is tangible, and self-soothing is a principle which is applicable in this case. What does it mean? The barn was burned, and this storage belongs to the neighbors. And as for us, we haven't witnessed any fire, because this can't occur here. This may occur nowhere but at the North Pole. That's the consequence of functioning of our nervous system, because we cannot focus on multiple risks and tasks. And thanks to cognitive distortions, we do not always take the risks in the right case. We are aware of a wicked boss, but we do not wash the hands prior to work, because these wicked bosses will not harm us, and microorganisms remaining on our hands may cause a lot of problems. DDoS should be taken for granted. They just exist. I dare to classify the perpetrators, and the first step of the first cohort of the perpetrators, including the aggressive vandals, will launch all these attacks. If you exist and have public business, the ones who are eager to be detrimental to you will interfere with your processes. That is why your working processes are to be streamlined. It's impossible to ignore DDoS, although you cannot see it in person. We may assume that we don't have to fear any cyber attacks. That's good, but I haven't witnessed any businesses of this kind, because DDoS attacks may be harmful to everyone, and all these working processes imply both reactive and proactive approaches and response. This sounds trivial, but still, you should prepare the sledge beforehand in summer, and vice versa. And as for the cart, it should be ready in winter also beforehand. No man of us is ready for this case. And we may also hire the team of experts. It will take 30 minutes, or even it will maybe a switcher process. We have implemented this service. How much does it cost? It costs 2 million per month. No, it cannot be subject to DDoS attacks. Why cannot it DDoS attacks? Have you seen their publicity advertising leaflet? You should be aware of this DDoS beforehand, and most of the businesses live in accordance with these principles. They exist in this case.
Который вообще в этом шарит. И вот этот супершарящий специалист, если все это...
We have some experts, but they may just pull toolkits. It's not highly likely we have these good experts, but it's the effect of the armed forces which do not take part in the war. It may be found out that you lack the armed forces. You have just people who wear the disguise and may post just beautiful photos, unless you use it or have something just for a beautiful picture, that will lose its function. Just ask your dentist, what will you do unless you use the teeth? Not all the astronauts use their muscles on the orbit either. Unless they train on a regular basis, they won't use them, and the same thing will happen to them. And that's why the best scenario is the following one. You need competent experts, the toolkit, and if everything is time-tested and validated, you should test them on a regular basis. And how can we test them on a frequent basis? You should attract all the people who may arrange a DDoS attack just for money. It looks trivial. Just make the experimental DDoS attacks, and vast majority of companies arrange these DDoS attacks. They do not arrange them, or they attack them just for principle, or just for template. They are not ready for that because it's nothing but just DDoS risk. Cost is very high. Rarely can DDoS have a negative effect, but it will be short-term. Everything fails for 3 minutes, but then everything will function. And unless you're ready for that, they may relocate for a long time. It may take hours. We have witnessed how this happened to other organizations. The organizations do not function on a regular basis. It may lose customers, and the personnel is exhausted, and DDoS perform these attacks, but they do not do anything. In this case, you may repel these attacks. When you may repel them if you have the personnel, working processes, and toolkit, and this should be used on a permanent basis. And you have to counter both DDoS attacks, be it experimental attacks and real ones, because real attacks will show some outcomes which cannot be demonstrated by experimental DDoS attacks. And if you order DDoS attacks, try to attract them who implement the representative number of nodes, who show the representative images of nodes, patterns of nodes, and those who will use the relevant methods of attacks. They are altering on a regular basis. New kinds of attacks are emerging because they haven't existed before, or they turned out to be unpopular. And if you build this protection pyramid, you are ready for repelling the DDoS attacks. And you don't have to do anything else in this case. How can this pyramid be tuned? What we need is human resources. When a real attack takes place, perpetrators may get ready for it for a long time. They may attack you within 30 days in a row. We were exposed to a DDoS attack 2 years ago. We were attacked 4 times per day by 8 to 10 vectors, and this was done on purpose. And then they were looking for our weaknesses and deteriorating the work of our stakeholders. This seemed to be unpleasant during the first day. That you get used to it, and then you will be exhausted. And the personnel gets grilled very quickly, because this will not be that detrimental to hardware or software. And if you're exposed to a DDoS attack, which will not be accidental, it will be on purpose, you should arrange the work the following way. People should have some time to relax, because this psycho-emotional and mental load may not be withstood. We lack technical experts who can rectify the situation, and they have to work for a long time.
So how to overcome this? Well, maybe you have to hire more experts, those who are going to work and to teach you, and to invite different people for this training attacks, so to teach your people how to counteract these attacks. Second, not to expect too much from these experts. The proprietor, the business owner, will be very unhappy if evil DDoS attackers will break down the platform for several minutes. But there is no bad about it. For example, if you have your apartment door scratched and the robbers managed to break one of the locks, but all the other locks withstood, then it's good. So you don't need to punish your people if something happens. Well, these are the consequences that can happen. And, war is war. And this is a kind of war, actually. One more factor is routinization of this high workload. When people begin to work very actively, very intensely, on the other side, the people who know how to attack your business, they know how to do it. For your personnel, this is an additional factor for their work. And actually, for the Russian Federation, quite a big number of organizations, they simply do not have big payroll of specialists that can counteract attack, can connect new means of security, etc. And the experts that counteract DDoS attacks, these people are going to get tired. And when DDoS is a permanent thing, this is just an external unpleasant factor. But you have to live with this. Imagine a situation when there is a bad neighbor in your apartment block. This neighbor is going to scratch your door, to spoil it, etc. And the same thing when you have DDoS attacks, and you have to get accustomed to this, and the people should live with it. Nobody knows how to complete it, and how to make this DDoS attacks a common factor. But nevertheless, you have to do it. Now, a few words about the defense. The devices and the equipment for the information security cannot provide all your security. The information security cannot exist just with the hardware. It should go through all your operations and through all your work processes. Your infrastructure itself must envisage the potential work under the DDoS, so that any traffic access your operation, then your infrastructure should survive. Sometimes there are attacks that achieve applications. They manage to penetrate all your barriers and firewalls, but your software must withstand this. The equipment, hardware, and software is just 50% of the success counteracting DDoS. And the second 50% is your personnel and your readiness to work. I once worked in a company that that was attacked several times. We had 30 gigabytes of redundancy, but our attackers managed to fulfill only 10 gigabytes. And it is also very important to connect necessary servers. Account managers should provide necessary approaches, and if you hire very active and very efficient personnel, it doesn't mean that they will help you. You have to provide the settings and adjustment to all your software and hardware. And this part is very important. If you have some equipment connected, then you have to test it and adjust it, and to provide fine-tuning of it. You have to provide fine-tuning all the time. tuning and tuning. You cannot buy a miracle equipment that will help or miracle software that will help you. If somebody says that we have connected a very reliable service and this will help us, so this person is cheating himself. You have to provide protection on different levels, your connection and communication channels. You have to protect all levels of applications, and you need necessary tools and instruments at all the levels. Only if you combine all this together, then it will help you. If you have only one segment protected, then it means that it is a door in the center of a desert. So these are the main principles, and if you follow these principles, then you should not fear any attacks. I would like to continue, and I'm going to talk about the particular things. First of all, we underestimate cyber criminals. As a matter of fact, they're not, they first of all are criminals, and then they are cyber. This is because they are criminals, they're using everything. Imagine if we were in 19th century and we would say these robbers use only one device, one key, and the cyber criminals can do anything. If they can eavesdrop, they will. If they even can kidnap one of your employees. As a matter of fact, when you talk about cyber criminals, you are talking about the criminals. These are hooligans, these are robbers, and you'd better rely your activities on the multi-century equipment. And one thing which is feared a lot, this is so-called the situation when your own then it is leakage of data. So if you have some employees with a very high level of access, then they are among the risk group. Probably the criminals will try to reach their screens, their computer screens. They probably would provide to listen to their communication. And when we talk about the state security systems, they still spend quite a lot. And the problem there can be that people can be very offended by you. If you look at the history of the 20th century, about 30 to 40% were materially and financially interested, but a bigger part were the people, a bigger part of double agents were the people who was motivated ideologically. So you should always find the people who could give out and leak the information, and they can hamper your activities. Unfortunately, our industry is a very young one. People in our industry can be of 20 or 30 years of age, and simply their life experience does not teach them. So the people simply do not understand what is allowed and what is not. So you have to teach these people, and it is very important to provide the necessary level of access. Many organizations simply do not do this. If you look at the system of protection of many companies, you can have a stronghold, a protected door standing in the middle of the desert, or maybe a door and fence, but there are lots of holes in this fence. So you have to take into account all these factors, including the work with the humans, with your employees. You have to remember all weaknesses, all human weaknesses, and there are no technical factors that will help you if you miss the proper work with your employees. Monitoring and alerting. If you do have monitoring and alerting, maybe this system will not register strong leaps of traffic. So I recommend you to pay more attention to monitoring and alerting, and the personnel that is in charge of these factors, and this network and this system should be able to monitor and reveal the real DDoS attack. Otherwise, there will be no result of this of the systems, and ideally, if you have triple redundancy of the security systems. Another important technical thing should be remembered. If the technical manager does not understand how his technical part operates, then he is not efficient. It is believed that a manager can manage any kind of activities, maybe launch of missiles, production of furniture, or a medical clinic. There were very few that could do this without understanding the essence. I can recall Sergei Pavlovich Korolev. This is quite enough, actually, to remember about this is the rocket science. And indeed, this is very close to the IT industry in complexity of these industries. So your technical manager should know not only his part of the picture, his part of the work, but he has to know everything, the instruments, the tools, the other departments. And if you have very high level, how to manage this? If you are a technical manager, then you have also to be in charge of the hardware and to know all the processes and to understand how it works. If you does not know this, if you do not control this, then you are not very efficient. Let me change the slide. Okay, these are our indicators. I will tell you a few words about our project. Here you can see how big we are. We have more than 22 million of customer wallets. We are releasing 20 to 30 releases per day. Why we're providing so many releases? Because we want to be what we are. You can do it very fast and very good, And this is important. Let me tell you about our experience. When we first faced the DDoS attacks back in 2021, we were ready for this because we always had been thinking about the potential modern threats. Indeed, at that moment we had suffered from DDoS attacks. We had some extra traffic, and we made the fine-tuning of our infrastructure, of our partners and communication operators. We did quite a lot. Maybe we could stay away from this. Nevertheless, for 1 month we had a highly qualified and motivated team of DDoS attackers. By the way, if some top managers think that if you find the real gang of DDoS, then you will put them into prison and everything will be solved. Nevertheless, you cannot do this. Indeed, we involved quite strong security organizations to understand who were attacking us. The only answer we got was that they were professionals. And we stayed quite a lot together with them, and these attacks were aimed against us. They had to let us down when we had the biggest customer traffic. Well, it was unpleasant, but we survived. And at certain moment, they simply spent too much money. And the golden comparison is 3-to-1. It means that the attackers spend much more money than we spend for security and protection. If you want to be successful in your attacks, then you need 3 times more resources than the one who is defending. Well, as a result of this attacks, we provided additional tuning of our security system. We understood how to distribute the load on our personnel. Otherwise, you probably would fail because not all the people who do not sleep can solve all the tasks. So sometimes you ask people how they provide the security, and they say, we simply sleep less. In one of the cases, there was another case where DDoS attackers somehow undermined our operators. And it was simply very big operators, and they were very slow. Sometimes, by the way, if you have a very big and strong brand, but it doesn't mean that they're good. Maybe this is not true for the hardware producers. As a rule, these big hardware producers have quite a big segment in the market. And the same thing is in consumer goods. For example, there are Gillette shaving and there are Chic shaving. Gillette is promoting themselves very strongly, and they hold 80% of the market, and Chic are better, but they hold only 20%. And now, as to our experience, we withstood different attacks, and we survived until 2022. Quite a lot of things happened in 2022, including the World Cup. This was Tsupis. And the DDoS criminals decided to attack our Tsupis Center of interactive settlement and credit. So we were still counteracting our attacks. As a matter of fact, at that moment, more than 50% was the story was that quite a lot of traffic was aimed at us. We were doing releases even under strongest DDoS attacks. But we had built our pyramid of security, and we simply did not notice these attacks. Quite often they try to hack us, and this is normal background, but I recommend that you analyze it strongly. And it can be very simple. It can be interconnected. Sometimes some childish attacks are, but it can happen that some attackers try to get in contact with your employees, and this will be quite efficient. Okay, that's it from my side. If you will be doing like I've been telling you, then you will be safe and happy. Why I'm saying this? In my statement, I was talking about very simple things. So what you need is very correct and streamlined operation processes. You need the instruments, and everything should be prepared and ready for work 24/7. In this case, you are protected and you should not fear anything. Now, questions from the audience. I will ask myself. Alex, why you not be talking about information security? There are services of security, departments of security, special experts of security, etc. You don't like security? Well, as a matter of fact, in the Russian Federation, those people who work in the sphere of information security, they have to deal with quite a lot of regulatory documents. As a matter of fact, these security experts, are they super experts in instruments? No. But maybe they know very well about the regulatory side, but quite often they need the support and the help of engineers. So not even one information security department will not be able to provide a completely protected infrastructure. Let's take, for example, specialized firewalls. If it is under control of the information security specialist, then probably it will not be successful. And if you don't have engineers involved also in these activities, so at certain moment it can fail, and then it will lead to your crash. The security specialists can be final internal clients, but they cannot be the final operators of their own equipment. So the best recommendation that I can do is that despite different approaches, despite different experience of your employees, some of them work longer or shorter, you should achieve and you should avoid any kind of confrontation between the security specialists and the engineers in security specialists in security activities. Your employees should have the same language, and they first of all think about their business, and only in the second hand to think about themselves. So I've told you how these topics are considered by the managers. An information security specialist maybe could tell you more profound judgments, but maybe not so expanded. The second question from the audience. Well, I will ask myself again. Whom could you recommend? Well, 30 years ago, it would be very difficult to recommend somebody if you wanted to find an apartment, to find a dentist, or to buy a new sofa. And you could not rely upon advertising, and you had to ask your friends. Now we have Google, other searching machines. If you want to find an instrument in your sphere, this should be strongly available, not only for 3 persons. It must be something very transparent and clear, properly described by the promotion materials, and this should be a team. For example, this can be a communication operator. Imagine that something happens at night, you try to reach your security staff, and then you cannot get any answer. So your partner should be able to provide to you different benefits. I'm not talking about the discounts. Your partner should be reachable at any time and must respond very fast. If not, then you don't have high accessibility of your partners. So you should get a contract with somebody who is available in the market, who is very popular, and you have complete understanding with them. And the last final question. The last question is about artificial intelligence. AI has existed since long ago. Actually, back in 2009, I even wrote my thesis about AI. So, can the AI change the security issues? This is just another instrument. A new instrument appears from one side, and new instruments appear from another side. A question can be, for example, how much the channel capacity can change the situation with DDoS attacks. Well, it will change something. So, as to the artificial intelligence, if you don't consider it as an instrument, then on the other side, people will use it as an instrument. And also take into account that these instruments, like AI, work with certain random approach. Some of the attacks can be banned, and the others will be allowed. So if your equipment can ban certain addresses, then you can be surprised that these artificial intelligence instruments can ban something very safe. One more slide. Last year we achieved 99.99% of the service level agreements. Well, I am within my timing. Thank you very much. If you still have questions about what I've told, you're welcome to contact me. It is easy to find my contacts. Please don't DDoS attack me.